And please feel free to join us on camera, everybody. If you have that opportunity, we'd love to see who you are, especially give our guest host a chance to see all of our family. Our family. That's great. And as always, open your chat, be ready to share, know where your hand raising button is.
We have just finished a Christmas meeting, so that's why I'm looking like this. And I had my camera off.
I love it. And I think you should wear that hat
But if
always.
if it's okay, I can keep it on.
You look like a little elf. Santa's little helper. Very cute.
Beautiful.
So I have this arrangement behind me as well, like a Christmas.
Welcome, everyone. Okay, so I think the waiting room is empty, I hope. So thank you so much for joining us for the Live and Learn. Today we have our wonderful guest host, Eran Zahavi. And as an introduction for you, before he begins, I just want to share some of what he has been doing. In fact, he's going to share it himself, give you a chance to listen to our guest host.
Fearless action is the result of intelligent preparation. Sun Tzu. For any event that requires preparation, whether it's a sporting event, a vacation, signing a contract, a wedding, or anything else that necessitates planning ahead, the event itself is merely the result of the preparation that came before it. The more we practice, study, train, rehearse, plan, simulate, and envision, the more confident we are when game time comes around. And the more confident we are in our ability to execute, the greater the likelihood we will experience the positive outcomes we desire. We've done the work. We've done the prep. We've done the due diligence. We've asked all the questions and done all the research. We've practiced, studied, trained, rehearsed, planned, simulated, and envisioned. We've stood in a future fulfilled and wrestled with doubt. We've done everything there is to do before taking action. At this moment, after the preparation and before the performance, the warrior reminds us to let it all go. It is necessary for us to release all of the previous doing and step into the being of what we have created along the journey. We exhale all of the stress, all of the excitement, and all of the anticipation, opening up for the state of calmness, presence, and peace of mind. From this clearing, we liberate ourselves from all expectation of outcome and dissolve any fear that whatever happens next is not exactly what is supposed to happen. Releasing expectation does not mean that we are ambivalent or uncaring to how things turn out. Rather, it removes the rigidity of our happiness being tied to a singular potential outcome. Instead of being focused on a fear-based expectation, replacing it with a love-based opportunity provides an entirely different perspective to wherever we direct our energy. If we have an unmet expectation, we are left with disappointment, discouragement, frustration, sadness, and doubt. But if we have an unmet opportunity, we are left with more opportunity. Releasing expectation, embracing opportunity, and dissolving our fear that we don't already have everything we need creates the ultimate liberation for our soul to live and create with intelligent fearlessness.
Beautiful. With that, I would love to introduce our visionary and guest host, Eran Zahavi. Welcome.
Hey, everybody. So great to be with you guys. Hi. So let's see, I'm just checking out, seeing the best way that I can set up my, there we go. I'm going to stay on gallery view so that I can see everybody at the same time. So it's really an honor to be able to be with you guys today, and a joy more than anything. So thank you for welcoming me into this container. And I wanted to start by getting a little pulse of the group. Can you guys all type one word into the chat box? Just say how are you feeling? What's in your space? What are you experiencing right now? Let's see, reborn, great. That's a great way to be. Love, harmonized, enthusiasm, peace, joy, curious, peace, exhilarated. Okay, we're starting out hot. That's great. And this is going to be a really wonderful, wonderful hour. Christmas mode. All right, so very jolly, I'm sure. Okay, now that we have taken a quick little check of how we are right now, since we are the creators of our world, and all the creation is born from the seed of intention, take a moment and think about it, really feel into it actually, and think, what do you want to experience for this call? In 1 hour from now, and you think, what is my experience? What am I feeling? And what is that intention? And the intention is not so much an object, but an experience. So what would you guys like? What do you intend to feel or experience over this next hour? Joy? Yeah, great. Great joy. I love it. Oh, it was perfect. Rest in an hour, Katerina. Then you could nap. Safety. Okay, safety. Beautiful. A recharge, expansion. Wonderful. Greater awareness. Beautiful. For me, very fittingly, for this group, my intention is to feel connection and connected. So in an hour from now, we'll get off this. Obviously, there's joy and all the other things is wonderful, but to feel that connection in this space here. So let me start, you guys, and I'm just going to share a little bit about myself, why I'm here, and I was invited to chat with you guys. I want to leave a lot of room open for questions, for interaction, and keep it in a really good flow like that. And you know, one of the biggest reasons, and I'll share a little bit about a program that I'm creating with Eric and Jillian, I'm very excited about. But the biggest thing is because I strongly believe, and I think probably in this container as well with the work you guys have done, we all would subscribe to the idea to some capacity that everything that you're looking for, everything you need, everything you want, every answer already exists inside of you. It has to, because you are an emanation of the totality of everything. Where else is it going to be? And so, you know, it's wonderful when we can speak with other people that can give us some insights or teachings or wisdoms or guidance. But the way that I see it, it's not that you're necessarily learning anything particularly, you're remembering. And so as we go through this path of remembering and things that may come up, I definitely want to keep it open and interactive so that there is give and take, receiving, sharing, and whatnot. So what I'd offer to you as I'm chatting, we're talking, if there's any questions that come up at the moment, you can either write them down for yourself or at the moment, write them in the chat. And maybe Cecilia, if I miss it, if you can just keep an eye on some of the questions that come through, and then when it's the right time, we'll kind of open it up and do that. Does that sound good for everybody? Great. Okay. Also, being in this space too, all virtual and everybody's on mute is a different thing where usually we're in interaction. So if you guys, I don't know how active you guys here, you hear something you like and you say yes, or absolutely great. If there's something that you disagree with and you don't like, then
absolutely great.
There you go. Amazing. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. You can chat it. If there's something you don't like, then keep it to yourself. I don't want to know about it. So I'm just kidding. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Now, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. More than anything, I consider myself an artist. And we have a frame of what we consider art. And maybe it's painting. I can't paint. Maybe it's drawing. I can't draw. Maybe it's sculpting. I can't sculpt. Maybe it's music. I'm a musician. But art is creation. That's what it is. And so if you create something, you are an artist. And seeing that we all come from this infinite field of source energy. And we can give it a lot of names. I know there's certain words and names in this container, and it's a beautiful container, but to know what we're all talking about, right? Some people call it energy, some people call it source, some people call it quantum, some people call it God, some people call it other things too, as well. But what we know, science, spirituality, head, heart, we're all in this coherence to know there is this infinite, non-dying, eternal, energetic source from which all of life, all of physical form manifests. Energy creates matter, matter doesn't create energy, right? We're familiar with this? Yep. Great. So from that awareness, we know that every single aspect of us, the entirety of our being is wholly and fully made up of this creative energetic source. Therefore, every single thing that you think, every single thing you intend, every single thing that you do is an act of creation. There's nothing else it can be. And when you're receiving, you are creating the experience of receiving. And when you are in a state of feeling like a victim, and the polarity of that is to be a creator. So when you're a victim, life is happening to you. And when you're a creator, you are happening to life. And the beauty of that is that even when you are experiencing yourself being a victim, you are creating the experience of victimhood, of life happening to you, because there's no other way for it to be but you being a participant of happening to life. You are the one painting on the canvas. So from that space, owning our creativity and our artistry onto this canvas. So let's step back a little bit and share a little bit personal story with me. I was an entrepreneur, still am, but let's go back to 2017 now. And I had a company that was very successful that just sort of took off. And I was married and had 2 kids and the white picket fence and the dog and like the whole thing. And it was, you know, like it was great and really like living the dream, right? And on paper, everything seemed perfect. And I remember though, I was going through some shifts of my awareness and perspective of life. And I think like many of you, was feeling this calling of just like, oh, there's something more. Like, I want to have an impact, you know, I want to sort of be of service, and I'm connecting into the light, and I'm going on my spiritual awakening and my opening and learning things that I never heard in school or from my parents or from my friends, and just feeling these new feelings. And which I know, of course, that's what the reconnection is a lot about, feelings of new feelings. And so I remember very distinctly, I was standing outside of my house in the evening in my bare feet on the grass, and I looked up to the universe and I said, I take me, I'm yours. I want to be a light warrior. I want to be one of the 144,000. Let's do this. I'm in. And as you'll hear, since that day, my life has gotten so much harder. Oh my gosh. Like, it's like, what's up? I said I was with you. What is this? You know, and I'll share a little bit about the context of that as I tell you the specifics of my story, because it applies for us all. So a few months after that, while celebrating my 7th wedding anniversary, I was at a festival, a large festival, and I was playing in a very interactive festival, and I was climbing onto an installation, and I fell 40 feet in the middle of the desert, straight back. And I woke up the next day in an ICU to a doctor telling me that I had crushed my spinal cord and I'm never going to walk again. And that began the dissolution. So, you know, I was 38 years old, healthy, active, and now all of a sudden, 2 kids, 2 young kids, my kids were 2 and 5. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I can't feel or move anything below my waist. And I'll just tell you guys, as you can probably imagine, paralysis. Am I allowed to use colorful language on this call?
Yes, go for it.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Paralysis is a mind fuck, you guys. It's a total mind fuck. Obviously, it's the physical element of it, and we see that, you know, which the physical element in and of itself is a total trip. And but the mental just is really challenging. And a lot of us experience things that are mentally really challenging. And, you know, fear is relative, you know. So you may not have gone through something that may seem as extreme as becoming a paraplegic, but that doesn't mean that you haven't experienced the depth of the fear or the challenge or the pain that I did, whatever your experience is. And whatever you experience is real, it's your experience. But so now, you know, I'm watching my physical body start to dissolve and and an injury like mine can leave a pretty big wake. And so in the best of circumstances, it can be challenging, but mine didn't turn out to be the best of circumstances. And a few months later, I found myself divorced. And you know, there's more to that story, which, you know, some days I'll see when you guys will have a beer and we'll tell you. But you know, it's the way it goes. And so, but my wife left and she moved out and she took the kids. So now my body is gone. I had to close my company as well. I had a new startup company. I closed my company. And divorce and paralysis, in case either of you have gone through either, is really expensive. And so now my finances, my family, my body, my, you know, my dreams, my sense of self. And then my parents died, both of them. I'm not kidding you guys. I know you wouldn't, who could believe it? So I was in my chrysalis. Now let's talk about that for a moment. I'm sure you guys all know that caterpillars turn into butterflies, right? We all know that. But does anybody, you show your hands or whatever, actually know what happens in the chrysalis between caterpillar to butterfly? Okay, Barbara knows. Yeah, it's the most incredible story. So this caterpillar eats and eats and eats and consumes voraciously. And then has a pretty good life, right? It's got his caterpillar friends, and it's got all the little leaves and whatnot it can munch on. But something is calling it to go climb up a branch. What is it? I don't know. It just knows. They all do it. There's something instinctual. And so this creature wraps itself up into a chrysalis, and then it completely liquefies. It turns into this like primordial goop, this soup. And then these new cells start to pop up, which we call imaginal cells. And these imaginal cells are single cell organisms. And one will pop up here and one will pop up here. And these are the ones that say, I think we could fly. I'll be a wing, and, I'll be an antenna and this. And what happens is all the other cells start to attack them because they believe that they're foreign invaders. But they just keep popping up. And then eventually they bond together. And then those two bond with two other ones, and next thing you know, a butterfly. And it's just the natural course of things. Now, we like to romanticize the butterfly, but let's take that out of it and just simply look at the sequence of events of evolution. It's so magical. It's the most magical thing. And what's so magical about it, Barbara was saying it's magical. You guys see the chat. What's so magical about it is that it happens all the time. It's magical and it's a miracle, and it's just the way things go. Like that's and so we look for these things to be miraculous and magical that are so out there. Like we need, Jesus and Angel Michael to ride down on a centaur with a lightning bolt or something to be a miracle. There's miracles every day that we experience in every moment. I mean, this is, and this is, you see, there's a tie to all of this conversation. I know you guys are feeling it. I mean, and I'll come back to the caterpillar for a moment, but let's talk about, since it's now in the conversation, magical and miracles. Right now, in your body, right now, there is 100 trillion cells that are working 24 hours a day, nonstop, 7 days a week for roughly, let's say, 80 to 100 years. And we're just having this conversation. And while we're doing this, these 100 trillion cells are breathing your lungs. They are pumping your heart. They are operating every single system in your body. Your skin, your bones, your lymphatic, your nervous system, your everything, without any conscious awareness or direction that we give it. So, and at any moment, literally, something could go wrong for a split second, for like a millimeter of an inch of this, and we would be permanently dead forever. I mean, you want to talk about miracles? Like everything is just a profound miracle beyond comprehension of what's actually happening. And I had a near-death experience, and many people who have near-death experiences have these newfound perspectives of life. But if we were really present to what was happening into our bodies, we would recognize that life itself is a near-death experience. I'm going to say that again. Life is a near-death experience. And if we could really be into that embodiment of it, we would be walking around all day long saying, oh my God, it's still happening. How is this happening? How is anything happening? I can't believe it's still happening. Oh my gosh, I'm alive. This orange tastes amazing. You know, like, wow, this hug feels so good. You know, like this video game's so fun. Like whatever, the most mundane stuff would be so flipping profoundly incredible. And instead, what do? I'm bored. I don't like my job. I don't like my girlfriend. You know, and it's all good. It's all part of the game. But this is the opportunity we have where it's all here. It's all here. Everything in the entirety of all of existence exists within your own conscious awareness, all of it. So this, we'll get into that in a moment. Let's finish. So you can guys already tell I like tangents. They just come, but we're all open to whatever's coming through. So the butterfly, we romanticize the butterfly, but recognize that it's all just one creature. It's one life. The caterpillar is just a phase of the butterfly. And the chrysalis, the dissolution, is just a phase of the butterfly. And not only is it just a phase, it is a necessary, requisite, imperative phase so that this creature can emerge into the fullest expression of itself. And the only way that this creature will ever emerge into the fullest expression of itself is to go through the process of complete dissolution. It's just the way it has to go. I don't know what the consciousness is of the butterfly in the chrysalis, but I would have to assume, if it could feel, that it would be excruciatingly painful to go through that process. You don't think so, Barbara? No? You want to come off mute for a second? Why you don't think so?
I think that it would be just so expanded that it would be in a state of bliss, but maybe that's my romantic fantasy.
Well, you know, that may be so. I equate it to my own experience. You know, I'll tell you this. It was not a blissful experience for me. And it was born from bliss, all the same. You know,
So could it have possibly been a blissful experience, but not from your perspective?
yeah, well, that's a beautiful question, because what's perspective? The perspective is everything, because that energy that we are, that infinite, non-dying, eternal, creative source that has no beginning or no end, that is a singular thought from which all of this is emanating and coming from, is bliss. It's love. That's all that it is. So everything that we experience within that is going to have that as a backdrop to it. But then we've created this world of space and time and physical form that gives us the opportunity to have physicality and our five senses, and to experience polarity, to experience duality, to experience multiplicity, which is so cool. Because if you think about it, you know, the infinite it truly is beyond our full comprehension. Because if you try to think about what infinite means, and you think of anything at all outside of it, then you don't understand it. You're not actually, that it's an impossibility to comprehend, because when we think of infinite, we think of so many, but infinite is just singular. It's just one. The law is one. There's only one. And in that, it's a thought. We could trip out on that for a while, but let's come back. So in that, now the perspective here, why do we have pain? Why do we have these challenges? You know, why do we have the dissolution? Why do we have the evolution? Why are we doing? What is it? What's the point of it? What it provides us, these challenges and this polarity and this duality, provides us this unbelievable gift to have the experience of discovering and remembering who we are. Now, I'll give you an example. How many of you guys have ever lost your wallet or your keys? Yeah, or your glasses or something, right? And out of all the people that have lost it, how many of you have then found it? Have the experience of finding your keys or your wallet or your glasses, right? Now, how good does that feel? It's such a good feeling, right? Or if you have an itch, you got a bug bite, and then you scratch it. Oh, it feels so good. Or when you're cold and you get under your blanket and it feels so warm, or you're hungry and you eat and it feels so good. If you didn't have the missing or the itch or the cold or the hunger, you wouldn't have the experience of the nourishment, of the warmth, of the, you know, of the redemption, of the finding. And so that's really one of the beauties in this form, is that we get to have that. And the only way that we can have that aha moment, that birthing moment, that having our wings dry and flying moment, is if we have that not moment. We have to go through the challenge. And, you know, challenges are, we hear challenges are gifts. Now, let's speak about that a little bit and how they show up. So how many of you guys played sports when you were younger? Maybe you still do, or were on any sort of team at all? Any team activities? Okay. But, you know, I played a lot of sports growing up. And what you guys might know, who is the person that the coach is going to give the hardest time to? The coach is going to give the hardest time to the best athlete. They're not going to ride the 12th person on the bench. They're going to, because they know what's possible for this. So when you get these real extreme big challenges in your life, it's not the universe saying that they're punishing you or that they.
My name is Eran Zahavi. Yeah, it was a very powerful weekend. Was very warm and welcoming, which was a nice surprise. Didn't necessarily expect that type of warmth. And it's a playground. It's safe to play and be curious and to explore. And I really love that there is a wide variety of life and people from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different ages, all coming together, looking for the same thing, which is essentially connection. And just the bringing together of people with the same intention starts to create the connection in and of itself. And then from that, everything gets to expand. And it was very, very powerful and enjoyable. Yeah, what was very powerful for me in the discovery of the reconnective healing work itself was not as much with what happened to me, but really when I was the practitioner and working and practicing with other people and recognizing the power and the impact that I was able to have, where I may have been in my head thinking, I don't know how to do this, or I'm doing this wrong, or anything like that. But just stepping aside from that and allowing to receive and allowing the energy to just come through and be there, and then to get the reflections of the impact and the experience that others had from sessions where I was the practitioner, I was practicing, or I was facilitating, and for them to have such strong breakthroughs is really powerful to recognize that the work and the energy is beyond what we may consciously know, and it may not look the way that we think it does, but it's there. And having that reflection from others was very powerful.
Observing and noticing and playing.
The experience that touched me the most was actually the very last experience that we had when we brought in some guests to work on. And so they haven't been here for the weekend, there's no relation. And was working with this woman, and she had some movement and things were happening clearly with her foot or her hand, but I still had no concept or insight of what her internal experience was. And then afterwards, when we had a chance to talk with her and ask some questions, and she shared some beautiful experiences about seeing all of these crystals, and then it became this big beautiful heart and all of this light that came in and these wonderful types of visuals and experiences. But when I asked about, you know, what was the experience for, what did she notice, and it was just, she said she felt calm and safe and loved. And at the end of sharing more of her experience, she finished by thanking me and just saying, and I felt your love, and I felt the presence of your love, and I am so thankful and grateful to have had this experience with you. And to be able to have that kind of impact on somebody in any capacity is a tremendous gift. And so it was really wonderful and an honor to be able to have helped to catalyze that experience for somebody.